Welcome back to the channel. And for those of you who are new, I'm Denise Brady. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist who specializes in helping people heal from narcissistic parents, emotionally mature parents, a lot of trauma. Okay, a lot of trauma. Now, I've been in the game for a long time. Okay, I really have. And over the weekend, I saw this video and I'm like, wow, there is a trend of mothers bullying their daughters, mothers sabotaging the success, the independence of their children. You might be somebody watching this like, wow, that sounds like my story. You might be somebody, I'm glad I didn't have that story. Okay, my mama is the best thing that ever happened to me. But not everybody got that. Okay, not everybody got that. Okay. Now I saw this video and I want to talk about just how hard it is to overcome a narcissistic parent. That right when you get released and you have that independence, your mama's like, oh no, girl, you ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna do whatever I can to sabotage because you're not gonna be better than me. You not. Okay. Now let's, watch this. Make sure you guys hit that like, you subscribe to the video. This video was on TikTok. I do want to do a trigger warning, a disclaimer. There's a lot of cussing. It might bring up some feelings for you about your own mother-daughter relationship. So just keep those things in mind, but make sure you hit that like, you subscribe. If you need a break from the video, make sure you take a break because it's gonna get kind of deep. Okay, but let's get into it. So we have this young girl who is on her way to college. Okay, now she's on her way to college to move into the dorms. It seems like her mother is trying to sabotage her success, sabotage her getting away. Okay, so that's a little bit of the background, but let's get into it. Did I say trigger warning? Yeah, trigger warning.
I don't give a fuck about your feelings. You don't give a fuck how hard I have to fight for you. So write your goddamn mouth. Just when you sit up here and let me say, I did it. Yes, the fucking did. Why are you a fucking liar? Girl, I'll think about it. He's sick and tired of somebody lying. I didn't lie to say anything. What do you want me to say? Apologize. I'm apologizing to you the way that I did. I'm sorry. Make me feel.
Now, this is supposed to be her day. Her day to move into college. Her day to have independence, a core memory. But instead, the core memory became about her mother. Okay. Her mom not wanting her to leave. Hurt. Now she gives a little bit more context of what happened.
Hi, so I first want to say thank you so much for all the love and support, and I really wasn't expecting this to get that big, but really thank you everybody for that's reached out and support and sent their stories too. I've been reading everything and I see everything, so it's making me feel better, but it does make me feel a lot more seen to know that I'm not the only one that goes through this, but it is sad that it is still happening. So it's really sad, but I'm really glad to see that everybody is comfortable with sharing their stories and they understand that how I'm feeling. So basically, this is kind of a background context to what had happened prior. So today was supposed to be my college move-in day, and my check-in time was at 8:15 a.m. We didn't get to the school until about 4:30, which was no, even later, 5:30, which was really later than what I wanted to, because I wanted to get in early, get everything done so I could still have time to finish all my shopping, because I still don't have everything I need for my dorm, which I need to collect over time, but that's okay. But pretty much the blow up happened right when it was about 1 o'clock, and she was finally done with all her errands and everything she was trying to do and run around and get. So I was like, okay, you know what? Finally, we're on the road. And all day I had been a little bit agitated because I'm like, okay, you're doing this and you're doing this, but I gotta check in. Like I don't know if these people are gonna push it back or do what. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. So it's like my anxiety was high, and I know hers was too. So I wasn't trying to agitate or poke her too much, right? But at like 1 o'clock, she was like, "Okay, we're good. I have everything I need. Let's get on the road." We get on the road finally, and then like 10, like right before we get onto the highway, she's like, "Hold on, I need to go somewhere else. Like I need to get this one other thing." I'm like, and I look at her, I'm like, and I do give her that look because I'm like, another thing, like we're about to go. And then she's like, and I was like, well, can't you, like, what are you trying to get? And she what did she want? She wanted to get, I think, something from the beauty supply store. But yeah, and it was like, well, can't you get that like further down the road, or like, yeah, can't you get it further or while we're on the road? And then she basically blows up at me. She's like, "You're being disrespectful. I've done all this for you to be disrespectful towards me and being a bitch." And she, and like basically, and right now the tears just spill over because my anxiety is like already on 10, and like my emotions are high. So like with her yelling at me is not making it any worse. So she's just basically screaming like, "I do all this for you to get disrespected, and oh, all of a sudden I can't get one thing, like I because you're whatever you."
How many of y'all have heard the I do so much for you? I buy you shoes, I feed you. It's almost like at times you feel like you should be grateful that your mom decided to have you. Okay, grateful that she didn't go to the clinic. It's like, lady, those were decisions you made. But your entire life, you are paying for them. You are very much paying for them. Some daughters grow up feeling like they have to dim their light so that their mothers can shine. If that sounds like you, let me know in the comments. And I think there are times where there's maternal jealousy. And what does that look like? Maternal jealousy. Constant comparison to other daughters or young women. Undermining your achievements. That's not a big deal. Competing for attention from family, friends, or even romantic partners. Critiquing your physical appearance, making you feel guilty for pursuing your dreams. Now, if you checked off any of them, okay, your mama might be jealous of you. But where does this all come from? You might ask yourself. It comes from unhealed trauma that your mama hasn't dealt with, unresolved insecurities. I wonder if her mama felt insecure about being alone, that her daughter might be achieving something that she was never able to do. Unmet dreams. Once again, unhealed trauma. Her own experiences were not there, so I'm going to sabotage yours. You can't do no better than me. What am I going to do without you? So instead of having emotional intelligence, 'cause, most of these parents are emotionally unavailable, emotionally immature. I'm going to lash out. That's what I grew up seeing was you lashing out. My mama lashing out, my daddy lashing out. That was what was mirrored to me. That's the only way I know how to show you that I care about you is through lashing out. The only emotion that I can attribute and learn from is anger. But y'all know what I got. Let me get it real quick. Okay, let me get it real quick. Oh, hey, girl. Hey, hey, girl. Okay, this is the feelings wheel. Instead of just identifying with anger, there's so many other ones. Okay. So many other feelings and emotions as a mother, as a daughter. You don't have to keep mirroring just anger. Okay. Let's process the fear. Let's process the sadness. And let's get over here to all these different emotions. But if you don't know, let me make it a little bit bigger, okay? But if you don't know, there are other feelings and emotions, thanks to the feeling wheel, that you can identify with. You don't always have to just stay in a state of anger. Okay, that's what you were conditioned to just sit in the frustration, criticalness, distance, aggressiveness. Let me put it closer. Okay. Yeah, it's some other feelings and emotions than just anger. Okay, you see that yellow part? It's possible, girl. It's possible. Okay, but I have to bring out my little friend because too many women grow up with the only identifying emotion of anger. Okay, and this has become a whole topic here of how people are growing up in broken relationships. Now let's get into it.
I didn't want to be close. This is because the only way mother raised me, but I never had a relationship with her. And there's a difference between being raised and having an actual relationship because raised means I put clothes on your back, shoes on your feet. I make sure you get to school, you look presentable. I teach you what I know, but I don't necessarily foster a healthy relationship with you. I don't get to know you. You don't get to know me. We kind of just coexist in this world because I'm your mother and you are my child. And I was thinking about the fact that a person asked me recently, what is your relationship with your parents like? And I said, well, I'm not that close to my parents like I would want to be, but this is not because I didn't want to be close. This is because the only way that I can be close is if I tolerate disrespect or if I tolerate being used or if I tolerate being half loved. And because I'm in a season where I'm learning to love myself and learning what healthy boundaries are, I'm not even allowed to tolerate no type of trauma or disrespect from the people who I call my parents.
Boom. Okay. Here we go. A lot of us were barely raised. We were maintained. Damn. You weren't raised, you were maintained. Okay. I don't even say conditioned, but damn, maintained. And going through your season of healing and recognizing you have maybe a jealous mother means I don't have to tolerate this. Were you raised or did you just grow up?
Right? But when you tell people you don't really have a close relationship with your parents, they often look at you like you're the problem, as if, as their child, it's your responsibility to keep that relationship intact, like relationships are not a two-way street.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying all this to say a lot of us were not relationship, we were raised. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
us didn't learn to be seen or validated or understood. We learned to be raised and to not
Mm-hmm.
ask no questions and to just tolerate whatever happens, right? And people often wonder why I'm so close with my friends, right? Because my friends, they have shown me what genuine unconditional love is, right?
I think so many people were raised in tolerance. And you grow up to be tolerated. You grow up to marry people, to be in relationships, to be in friendships with people who tolerate you because that was what was seen. That was what was mirrored to you. That's what love grew out of. I recognize love as being tolerated. And the impact of this also is you have chronic self doubt as a daughter. The fear of success are standing out. Are you somebody does not like the light shine on them? If I shine, I'll upset somebody. The strained ability to trust other women. We talk about that over here, especially authority figures, because your first bully, your first authority figure was your mama, and look how she treated you. Look how she treated you. Difficulty forming a solid self identity separated from your mother. And I think in the other video, we saw the young girl trying to develop a separate relationship than her mother. Than her mother. But let's get back into the video.
And I feel like when you have family, family is almost like an excuse to just do whatever you want and be able to get away with it, right?
Mhm.
Your family kind of will just disrespect you, abuse you, treat you any kind of way under the premise of, well, that's your mom, that's
Mhm.
your dad, that's your sister, that's your brother. They feel like they don't have to treat you right. They don't have to respect your boundaries. They don't have to see you. They don't have to support you. You are family. They don't have to do anything for you except be related to you. But here,
Yep. Yep. I don't have to pour into you because we blood already. You grow up in a system that tells you you are tolerated. Why do I have to pour into you as a child? You got food, you had a roof over your head, that was not enough? People need the emotional closeness. They need the nurturing. You know, all the things that, yes, a roof over your head, but what about me as a person? Am I being seen? Are you helping me grow? What are you molding me into? Now we go back to our trust these feelings wheel. And what are a lot of you guys being molded into? Angry black women. Angry black women. Because that's what your mama was molded into by her mama. Her grandmother was an angry black woman. Okay. Often in therapy with my clients, I ask, what was it like in your household when emotions were talked about regarding rest, self esteem, and confidence? How were those things poured into you? Or were they not poured into you at all? Where did you learn self worth, self esteem? Because if your mama's so busy being jealous of you, I doubt she was trying to make you a good human being. Okay, that was not her focus. Okay, that was not her focus.
Here's the thing, relatives don't mean relationship. Just because they're related to you doesn't mean they have a relationship to you. And this is why when you have people in your life that meet you as a stranger, but then soon become your friend, you begin to feel like that's your actual family. But I'm saying this to say, y'all gotta stop shaming people who don't have good relationships with their parents. It's not on the child. 9 times out of 10, if a parent and a child has a messed up relationship, it's something the parent did or didn't do. And we don't like to say that, right? But the child is only as much as its parent and the one that's bringing them up, right? And I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash.
I would say a little caveat that sometimes it is the kids, okay? As much as I get on the parents, sometimes it is the kid. It ain't always a parent. Sometimes the kid can just be messed up and the parents don't want to deal with them either. Okay. You know, I gotta call a spade and keep it real over here. Sometimes it's the other way around now.
From the moms and dads who feel like I did the best that I can, but sometimes the best that you could do was still not good enough. Sometimes the best that you could do was still trash. Sometimes the best that you could do still results in trauma. Sometimes the best that you could do still results in your children being wounded from you.
Mm.
Not because you meant to, but because your best was rooted in trauma, because your best was determined on your parents' best and your parents were abusive, right? And I had to tell one of my sisters this maybe a couple of months ago, that when she said, my kids should be happy that he didn't get the same treatment that we got. Because when we were coming up, we were getting beat, we were getting done dirty, we were getting this and getting that. And I had to remind her, I said, sis, don't raise your children based on the premise of our parents, because we didn't necessarily have good parents, right?
Mhm.
If you measure your parenthood based on our parenthood, you will still abuse your child, because you shouldn't be comparing yourself to parents who abused you, right? You shouldn't be saying, oh, well, my kids got it better than I had it, because
But that's also the mirror. That is um the baseline. You only know, for a lot of people, they only know parenting through their parents. So they only know how to parent a child through what they witnessed, what they saw, and what they experienced. I think we, as you know, in communities of color, there are just not a lot of positive representations of parenting and doing something different. And I think, you know, there's been a whole rise in gentle parenting. And in our culture, I feel like the elders like laugh at us for trying to, you know, do gentle parenting, for trying to raise children who are emotionally intelligent. All that kid needs is a whooping. That's all you ever hear. All them YNs, that's all they need is a whooping. See, nowadays y'all don't whoop kids. That's the problem. Okay. That's the go-to is fear. Instilling fear in children, making them know that you the adult, that you the kid. I think there are ways of doing that that doesn't instill fear. Okay, and if we're going to break the cycle and break generational curses in parenting, that means reflecting on our own wounds, our own unhealed pain, Are you somebody parenting out of survival? Are you parenting out of fear? Is your child really getting a chance? Okay. I think we have to do the inner work to affirm the parts of ourselves that we're still working on. I think it sometimes means grieving the parent you needed, grieving that relationship you wish you had with your mother, building a life where you don't shrink to keep others comfortable. Are you shrinking? And recognizing that breaking the cycle may mean less closeness and more peace. And that's the hardest part is recognizing as you're going through your healing and you're getting peace. People don't talk about once you get there and how uncomfortable it is because you never experience it. A lot of times I see people self-sabotaging. They only know the toxic cycle of drama and being on that hamster wheel. Okay. When you get to a part of the healing journey about peace, it may be uncomfortable, but sit in that. Sit in the silence. Sit in, wow, there's no drama. There's no drama. And that's uncomfortable because that's all you know. Okay, that's all you know. But I want to talk about this because I feel like more people are starting to talk about healing from emotionally unavailable parents, growing up and not being raised, being tolerated. And what do they always say? That's your mama. That's your daddy. But you don't have to put up with that. You can create boundaries. You don't always have to be, it doesn't always have to be no contact. Go no contact, go no contact. You can set some boundaries in place. Figure out what you're comfortable with, what you don't want to put up with. And as we go into the holidays, slowly, we'll have more of these conversations. Okay. But are you a daughter being raised in a jealous environment? Have you come out of that? Are you still trying to navigate a toxic relationship with your mother? Okay. But as we close this video, I want you to know you're allowed to take up space, to succeed, and live fully. Okay. Even if your mom is not cheering for you, I'm cheering for you. And I don't know who needs to hear this message, but maybe you need to hear that there's somebody out there that has healed from this, that is working through this. Okay. If you feel comfortable, share your experience in the comments, give some tips and feedback on things that helps you release that, invisible umbilical cord that your mama had around your neck. Hmm. And what's one way you feel like you have reclaimed your light? Are you a person still trying to figure out what does my life and my light look like? But healing is possible. You can overcome having a jealous mother. All right. I want to have a continuance of conversation, dialogue. Let me know in the comments if you relate to this video on this topic, if you want to see more of this. And I will see you, girl, next time. Make sure you hit that like. Join the membership. It's only $1, y'all. It's only $1. But how have you overcome this? Do you think it is even possible to overcome? All right. And I will see you guys in the next video.